Hey, welcome back. Let me pull up a chair. We're back here with the Honda Express SR, and the answer to the previous video, what was wrong, was that the float level was way too high. So, instead of the float sitting level, when it was sitting up like this, and this has an adjustable float on this carburetor, and it's just got a little, I think it's a brass float, and it's just got this brass tang where you can change the height of the float. Now on your stock carburetor you don't have an adjustable float, so you wouldn't have this problem. But anyways, somehow in the hundreds of jet changes that I've done on this thing, I probably set the float down, pushed down on it or something, and got it out of adjustment. And so when I set it level, I took it from here to here, level with the bowl, and there's actually a measurement. Some guy out of Youngstown was talking about this on his. He had kind of the same problem, and I think he said if you measure from the if you turn the carb upside down and measure from the base of the carb to the top of the float, it should be like 21.5 millimeters or something like that. So, and I measured it, but I didn't have a metric ruler, I don't think. But I was a bit less than an inch, and an inch is 24.5 millimeters, so I think I was good. I think you basically just set it level. So anyhow, when it's sitting like this, that means it takes in that much more gas, and even though the jet size is constant, when the gas is, I don't know if the gas would be submerging like the main jet at that point. Probably not the pilot jet, I don't know. But anyways, it runs richer for whatever reason, because the gas is either submerging that main jet or is that much closer to the main jet. It makes a huge difference. So I changed that, and then of course I had too tiny a jet after I did the float adjustment, and then I had to mess with the jetting again, and I think I'm there. Now the only thing is my acceleration is lousy, and I think it's because of something in this drive belt system, transmission system. And somebody wanted to see how all this goes together. So without further ado, right? We did 3.5 minutes of ado. Now let's get down to it. So basically, I took off the cover. There's just some bolts holding the cover. And for you people that are new, you want to keep track of things on the way. This collar bushing, right, goes right there. And then inside the cover, there's a bushing here. The one I just showed you goes there, and there's a little bushing here, right? Keep track of this stuff. And you know what's beautiful is you've got this cover half on the ground, and you can just put your parts in there as you go, right? So you should not lose parts. My splines on this Kickstart gear are thanks to previous owners. We won't mention any names because we don't know their names. The splines are kind of boogered up on this where the Kickstart lever goes. And then when I reassemble it, I'll show you a trick with that. So now I'm going to take off the Variator. So that's a nut, and there's a washer, and then this Variator half. We're going to take off the belt. See, when it wasn't running right, I got frustrated. And I'm wondering if that's, I've got another bushing that I've made shorter. I'm wondering, or drive boss, this is a drive boss. Wondering which one I have in. Oh, so when it wasn't running right and I'd done like 80 things trying to figure out what was wrong and still couldn't get it to go right, I got frustrated and put this away, so I kind of forget, you know, how I had things set up. And there's the Variator. Wonder how much weight is in here. We'll just take it apart as we go, right? Because people wanted to see how this goes together. Now I need to replace this low battery. Yeah, no kidding, man. We're going to have to get you down in here so you can see. Hang on a second here. Let's figure out if we can get a better view of things, right? Okay, it's right in front of me, right? So there's a seal back here that I haven't replaced. I replaced it on the other side. And as some of you know, let me get this, I might have to pull this air filter too. What's got to get a different screwdriver, or can we do it with this? I think we can do it with this. Almost. Keep digging at it here. Oh yeah, she doesn't want to come off. There we go. There, that's a better view, right? Yeah, as some of you know, replacing the seal requires pulling that gear off, which is a major pain in the butt. And but I probably ought to do it with that. So anyways, let's see here. Come on out. Don't be shy. The main thing is there's this spring on this. This is actually easier than the Urban. All right, we'll take you. Okay. And so there's this spring right here. That's the main trick to this. Now the other thing is, I think we're missing a washer on the back end of this. I'll have to double check. I'm going to blame that on the previous owners. There's a bushing here, right? So keep your bushing there. And then this comes out. Now, there's also a bushing here, right? And then we've got this special washer on this side. You need to note which way it... What's going on here? Let's see. Well, this does not appear to be a special washer. Now in the Urban they've got a washer on there, and it's different on each side, and it goes in one way. I'm not seeing that here for some reason. So, okay, the washer stayed in. Also, you'll note, if I'm not making a mess of that, that arrow. So the arrow is meant to just point at the crankshaft, and then this piece here goes right here. All right, the washer's still there, that's good. And then this Kickstart stopper is almost always broken. Luckily, and mine is broken too. It's missing some of that padding. It's not terrible. It's not good either, but it's not as critical on the Honda Express R as it is on the Urban Express. So you can get away with it if it's broken like that. Not so much with the Urban Express. Alright, hang on a minute. Okay, so I was looking for, I've got an extra drive boss, and I wanted to compare it to see if this was the regular length drive boss or the shortened drive boss that I have. I took a couple millimeters off. And I can't find it. It's not in its usual location, but this appears to be unmolested. Let's get it on film, right? Yeah, so I think this is the standard drive boss. So I'm wondering if I should reduce the weights in the Variator, because the acceleration is pretty poor. And this is a pretty thin belt. This is the, I guess while I'm at it, I better check the 9290 belt. So I'm kind of, with this thin belt, acceleration from a stop should be pretty good. So I'm kind of wondering what's going on. And the next culprit would be Variator weight. So I'm going to take this apart and see how much weight I've got in this thing. You know, one thing after another, right? Okay, battery charge going down, going down. So I had 36.5 grams in here, and I've lowered it to 35. Not a big change, but it was what was handy, and that might be holding me up. That might help out a little bit. So anyways, we got to get this back together, and I've got this camera in front of me. Oh my God, I've forgotten. Yeah, I'm going to check, but I think I'm definitely missing a washer here. Should be a washer right there. Let's check the... And then what's the best thing? How do we begin with this, right? What do we put in first? I want to put these together somehow. You almost have to put it in simultaneously, if I remember. But we'll... Remember, we got the washer on here. Alright, so arrow pointing to the crankshaft, crank arm, whatever. This thing in here, the washer's on like it was when we got it, so we're assuming that that was right. Then we've got this gear, which is missing a washer. I'm going to have to pull up the parts diagram and verify that, right? And you know, this sits on here, so, and then we got to get this, there's a groove in here, and actually, what's the best way to do this, right? Almost have to, I think we need to get this above here. Haven't done this as much as on the Urban, right? We'll get you, don't you worry about a thing. Can we duck in underneath and over? No, I don't think so. I don't think that's going to work. Yeah, like I was saying, this almost has to be done simultaneously. Hurry up, we're running out of battery, man. We got to get this right. What can I do? What can I do? I wonder... You can just hold this. I think what we need to do... Let's make sure that washer's on, right? think we need to move that out a tad. Give ourselves a little room. Maybe give ourselves a little more room. There we go. We got that on. Now, is that butt up against this? You can do it. You can do it. You've done it before, right? I'm going to ease this back a little bit. There we go. Now, push them both in together. There you go, brother. There you go. It was that difficult, right? And that's as far as she's got. Our arrow got a little out of line, but if it's off just a little bit, it's not the end of the world at all. And all right, we'll stick the belt on, right? Or partially on. We will stick the Variator on, the drive boss on, finish our belt placement. You can do it, brother. Oh yeah, oh yeah. My shoulder's bothering me, so try to do this without trying to pull that clutch apart. There we are. Did it. Alright, we've adjusted our view. Ran out of battery there. Didn't finish in time. Come on, you get on there. So I've placed this other Variator cheek on with the washer, and then I always start the nut by hand. It's a good idea when you're using an impact wrench. You don't want to strip that. That's no fun. Believe me, I've done it. And you want to make sure that's on tight enough. Not over tight, but tight enough, because you don't want to run this with this nut loose. You will make a mess out of things. A lot of times this cheek will get warped. This one's slightly warped. For the longest time I couldn't figure out what it was, but I'd be going full speed and you'd hear this, and that was just, I was like, what's wrong? Is something wrong with the crank bearings, crankshaft bearings or something? Which could be the case, but I think it's just that this is slightly warped, and you'd get like a little vibration or something involved at especially noticeable at high speeds. So so that's on tight, belts on, these are good. We've got our bushings placed inside here already. Next move is to slide this on. Sometimes you have to fiddle with it. And then I only use 4 of the 8 bolts, just because I've been known to take this cover off a time or two. And this thing actually faces this way. Now, the bolt here that for the kickstart lever should basically screw in all the way by hand, and then you want to tighten it afterwards. We'll get to that. But if for any reason this gives you the slightest resistance, it means you're stripping the splines on this gear. So always just get that all the way in my hand and then tighten it later. And then I always slightly engage that to put a little tension on things. And then screw in the cover. You'll notice my X pattern there, right? And then go ahead and, excuse me, finish tightening that. Double check this. Yeah. And it'll click if you go down too far. And finally, that was the clicking of that spring that we lined up. That's just going a little past the range. We'll put our air filter back on, right? Just so people don't write me nasty things in the comments. You forgot that. You forgot this. You big dummy. I have been known to be a big dummy. What's going on here? What? Let's loosen this up some. Why are you fighting me? I need more Lusitania. Come on, baby. I need to get the Phillips. It'll work better on this than this. Ridiculously large flathead. So there you have it. What do I got to do on this yet? Find a mirror, test ride it. I'm still using the oil tank as the fuel tank. I got another fuel tank in it. The original one had a leak, and so I've got to test this new one. And yeah, I can't think of anything else right now. I'm sure there's other things I'm just forgetting. You know, that's just the way it goes. So let me get a Phillips, tighten that up, and we'll... Oh, this video's probably gone on way too long. Dude, be quiet. Finish it. Alright, hey, thanks for watching. Ride safe, and we'll get you on the next one.